Morning, everybody. It is April 29th. Welcome to my channel. Yesterday, in the ES, we opened up with a tiny gap lower, filled the gap. Now, in futures, the way I was taught by people trading a lot longer than me, you don't use the previous day's close as a gap. You do range gaps, just highs and lows. So it filled the gap, sold off, broke the overnight lows, like right here. This was the black shaded area is the real time regular trend charters. So you just took out the overnight lows. And then, like I said yesterday, this large demand, I would not want to be short into it in both areas. See, the Nasdaq also swept the overnight lows. And then it was just this, ugh. And finally, because FOMC and big earnings today, the market ripped back up. Now, I took 2 L's yesterday, earlier long, and then I got into a long that just hit my stop. Then I tried a short, which it was up 7 or 8 points. That was break even. And then I had to watch this market rip back up, which I was in my community saying this market is bottoming out. It's bottoming out. So that was yesterday. Okay. Now we're just trading in this range, right? Oh, FOMC and mega cap earnings this today after the close. Just a huge amount of earnings plus FOMC. Fireworks. Now crude is over $103 a barrel right now. $103 a barrel. And this market really kind of decoupled from the inverse correlation. It's no longer 1-to-1 inversely correlated to oil. It's kind of just decoupled. But oil continues to go up. Now, that is not going to be good. You can't have oil be up that much, and we're just going to be in wonderland here in the markets. Okay? Who knows what's going to happen? I'm just saying, you don't stay at over $100 a barrel, and the markets just love it. All right? Now, this morning, like I said, energy is getting love. It's up 1.18%, and semis are up 1%. Semis finally took a little bit of a bath yesterday, but then they were bought up yesterday. So people still are like, oh, that's my opportunity. Right? Now, in the daily charts, we still have not hit the 9 EMA daily at all in both. That's pretty weird. You can see that yellow line gets tagged a lot. You only hit it here. That was the 13th, and have not touched it yet. That is very weird. Okay. So, what was this? The 13th. So, we'll have to see. Okay. Now, welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. I use market profile and bond profile to find structure of the market, long supply and demand, gamma exposed levels, and most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and the previous day. That is my edge. That's how I come up with my game plans. Okay. Now, once that market opens up, I use the market internals. Okay. Market internals. Tell me what's going on under the hood of the markets. Also, anchor VWAP, my expected move for the week that you can get for free on my Discord, and a little ICT smart money concepts in there. But really, it's my own system. Okay. It is my own system. Now, hopefully, you join me every morning. Subscribe, set that alert. Give you the market story, the market news, the economic calendar, technical analysis, and I leave you at the end of my stream with the ES and the NASDAQ long and short trade scenarios. Okay, now if you want more in-depth coverage, you're going to join my Discord. That's Confluence Trading. Go to my YouTube homepage, click on the link, and sign up. What are you waiting for? Let me be indicator. Let me be your indicator. Okay, let's get right into the futures watch list here. Now, right off the bat, these are not my favorite days at all. I will trade probably the first hour, see if there's anything possibly there. Sometimes there is, sometimes there's not. After that, I usually am not even on the market. I don't have much edge trading FOMC. If you're a gambler and you have, or if you have some edge with it, be my guest. But typically, I don't have much edge. It's very volatile. It's hard to get a setup. Okay, so I don't even trade it. I'm usually walking or doing something else when the FOMC even hits because I don't really even care about it. It doesn't really matter to me. So we're expecting a pause, but it more matters what it's in the statement and what Jerome Powell, his last FOMC, will say in the press conference. That was really what moves the markets. The last one, I remember, it was very weird because it wasn't that volatile, the last FOMC. So we'll see. Now, here we are. Crude up 3%, over $103 a barrel. Wow. Then you have Bitcoin up 1.42, Ethereum up 1%, VIX up 1% to 18, NASDAQ up 0.27, Russell up 0.20, 10-year yield up 0.18, dollar is flat, ES is flat, the Dow is flat, no surprise there, okay? 30-year bonds are being sold slightly, gold down over 0.5%, silver down 0.72, Mag 7 plus. AMD, so people are buying this dip, okay? Up 1.82 pre-market. Broadcom up 0.38. Nvidia up 0.14. Who's lagging a little bit here? Netflix down 0.66. Apple is down 0.83. And Coinbase is down 1.33%. Okay. Now, we'll get into the earnings. Let's look at top sectors. Visa reported earnings, and they're up over 5.5%. So you have Exxon, Chevron getting love, Caterpillar, GE Vernova, and then let's see, we have Salesforce down over 0.5%, United Healthcare, Humana reported this morning, healthcare, okay, NEM down over 0.5%, Oracle down 1.21. Okay, we'll get into the little granular list here. Let's see what that has for us today. Who's up big today? Western Digital, I believe they reported earnings. I think that's Lemon. Don't quote me on that. Up 4.91. Micron up 4.45. Starbucks reported earnings up 4.34. ADP processing up 3.73. ARM Semi up. T-Mobile up. Oklo up. All right. Who's down today? Woo. Hood is down. They missed revenue, EPS slightly, but SoFi down 8.5%. I believe they report earnings. Enphase report earnings, I believe, also down 6.12. And Humana, that's healthcare, down 2.93. Okay. Moving on. Sectors. Okay. Energy leading the pack, up 1.18%. Followed by semis up 1%. Followed by technology up 0.66. Financials up 0.17. Industrials are flat. Who's the laggard today? Discretionary. That's your Amazon, Home Depot, Tesla. Let's see here. Who's really lagging today? Well, I don't really see much weakness in Amazon and Tesla or Home Depot. I mean, this is not huge down, but there's got to be a discretionary in there that I'm not seeing because I usually have the top ones up here. I mean, McDonald's is discretionary. It's down 0.20. I mean, that's the wrap up there. Okay. Let's get into some economic calendar. All right, so 30-year mortgage today we're up 0.02 from the previous to 6.37. 8:30 news doesn't move markets really. Okay. Housing starts, that doesn't really move markets. Got a slew of data here. Why is that? It's weird. Seems like it's showing me 1 stars with the 2-star filter. It's kind of weird. Crude inventories 10:30. and then FOMC at 2 p.m., followed by the press conference at 2:30. Okay. Now, let's just go to earnings. Big earnings today. So this morning we had SoFi, Humana, Regeneron, AbbVie, right? Today after the close, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, Google, Alphabet, okay? Ford, Qualcomm, Chipotle, KLAC, monster day of earnings. Before the open tomorrow, ConocoPhillips, that's your energy, Caterpillar, that's your industrial, Valero Energy, Wayfair, Eli Lilly, that's their number one holding in healthcare, MasterCard, Financial, Altria, Merck, Bristol Myers Squibb, and Cigna. And then obviously Apple after on the Thursday's close. Okay? Now, moving back here, let's look at schedule for Trump. I don't see anything really here that's showing me anything that's going to be anything so far. All right, and let's see. I don't see anything here. We know FOMC. Okay, and let's just refresh here. Not sure if they're giving me. It doesn't look like they're giving me. We'll move on. Let's go to some news. All right, so Fed likely to hold rates steady at what may be the last meeting of Powell era. Federal Reserve is expected to hold interest rates steady on Wednesday as officials debate whether to flag risks of rising inflation in a policy statement issued after what may be Jerome Powell's final meeting as the head of the U.S. Central Bank. Facebook and Instagram must do more to block under 13. Elon Musk to return to witness stand in trial over OpenAI's future. Visa shares climb as profit beat. Race forecast ease Middle East jitters. Bill Ackman's Pershing Square raises $5 billion for new U.S. fund. U.S. stock index futures inched higher in a cautious start to a day packed with several big tech earnings reports and a Federal Reserve meeting expected to be Jerome Powell's last. After markets close, investors will await earnings releases from Amazon, Alphabet, Meta, and Microsoft. Okay. Let's see if there's any other news that I would care about. Let's just see what Humana did. Humana Company reaffirmed its annual adjusted profit forecast despite a quarterly earnings beat driven by the health insurer spending less on medical service than expected. The company expects annual adjusted profit to be at least $9, but lowered its reported profit forecast to at least $8.36. That explains the weakness. All right. Coca-Cola got a price target raise from 90 from 88. General Motors 102. Cuts target price to 102 from 105. Mondelez raises target price to 70 from 69. Starbucks, Piper Sandler raises target price to 110 from 103. And UPS, JP Morgan raises target price to 118 from 106, citing confidence in domestic margin recovery. Alrighty. I think we're ready for a little breath. Just curious of some breath. Okay, so we're going to start with the 20-day moving average. It's a little more of a faster. Now you can see we've been pulling back. Once you get into 80s, it's really frothy, and we pulled back. Now only 57% of stocks are over the 20-day simple moving average. More middling for FOMC, right? Now we go to the breadth of the 50-day, and we're at 52%. That's very middling, okay? Right, for FOMC and big earnings. Now we go to the bullish percent index. Okay, that's used as a point and figure chart, which doesn't use time, and showing you buy signals and sell signals. Let's see where we're at. 57% of S&P 500 on buy signals. That is kind of middling. Let's look at the NASDAQ. 56% on buy signals, kind of middling, right? Let's drill down into the tech sector. 66% on buy signals, went up to 80, was frothy, now it pulled back, right? Let's go into financials. 73%, so this is still kind of getting love, okay? We're going to go in order of the weight. Communications, 52, that is in the middle. Mad is middling. Communications have not been getting as much love as the other ones. Okay. Now, discretionary. 56. Okay. Not as much love as technology and financials. Let's do healthcare. Woof. There's your little finally a little oversold. Healthcare continues to go down. Okay, generally a safety play with healthcare. So that piques my interest a little bit. And then we'll look at staples. 47, that's kind of middling. And then we'll end it with energy. Actually, let's go to industrials. We haven't done that, industrials. 58, right? Very middling. Let's go to energy and we'll end it with here, energy. 40%. Look at that one. All the way down here, probably when Trump was like, we're going to make a ceasefire or whatever. Look at that. Went all the way down to 20%. Was as high as 100, which is very frothy. Okay? That's a little breath. I love looking at that stuff because you could really see where money's getting thrown into. Okay? Now, let's market internals. Market internals. Let's get into the recap. Bread and butter. Okay, so when the market opened, it went right up to the previous day's lows, and then it sold off. Okay, so this was the one quick move, right? Kind of called that as my first short, but I didn't really have a setup here per se. Okay, and then we just bottomed, and I kept saying this in my community: we're bottoming out here. This does not feel like we're going to go much lower. And then what do you know? We got bought up into the close. Yes, were we kind of weak, but see what was the strength? Technology. You're not going to go down much with that. Now, if tech was red, we would have fell further. That's how that works, folks. Okay, that's how that works. So we're going to look at dailies now. Okay. We're doing a whole lot of nothing here. Range, range, range. Kind of breakout, back inside the range. Doji candle from yesterday. Doji candle from yesterday. Where are we now? And this little hot pink line is last week's close. So we're negative on the week so far. We're at 712 right now. 712. We're right at yesterday's close. It's like flat. There's nothing to see here. Okay, looks like a futures. We're flat. Look at that doji. That's pretty nasty. It's pretty ugly. Okay. Right at the close of yesterday. Nothing really to see there. Okay. Look at this sideways motion. Sideways. Okay. Qs. Not as sideways as much because you see it rose back up. Hit last week's highs. That's last week's close. Doji. Still didn't hit the 90 MA daily, right? Took out 2 days worth of candles, but just really a doji. Okay, where are we now? 659.35, 659.35 puts you right at yesterday's highs. So there's relative strength because I showed you semis and tech are strong, right? Futures. Let's extend this little demand zone because that came into play again. Keep talking about this. Look what happened. Dipped right into it. Got bought. And I kept saying yesterday, you don't want to short too good. The shorts are not great inside these big demand zones like that. Unless a news catalyst comes out, which we didn't have. Okay. Now here's futures. Look. Came up. You got inverse, like a little bit of an inverse hammer. Okay. So, like I said, this is FOMC day. Big earnings. This market's like just waiting, right? It's waiting. That's all it's doing. Waiting. And let's look at RSP. That's your equal weighted. Another day of divergent in the market. Look at the equal weight. Look at it. Down, 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 down. So that means the overall market is not strong right now. But like, just look at that versus the Qs, right? Like, look at that daily chart and look at the Qs. It's kind of all you need to see, right? And look, even the SPY, right? Look at that. And then you go back to RSP, and it's like, wow, if every stock had equal weighting, this is what our market would look like. So, but we don't move equal weight. We move by market cap, okay? Now, on to the hourlies. And there's really not much to go and say, wow, what an edge. This is unbelievable. Look at this market. But we are breaking down right now as crude is over 104 a barrel. Real quick look. Crude over $104 a barrel, okay? Let's go to the hourlies, okay? We're breaking this support here. Let's see if that can hold on your hourly charts. Okay, right at the and then this is where I love about my VPOCs, right? The most traded price of the month is right here in the 71.6. I've been talking about that for a while. And the market loves to go there when it doesn't know what to do. When it's like we're waiting on news. I always say we're in Jersey here. If it's cold, it feels great to jump back in a warm, snuggly bed. I like to call this the warm, snuggly bed of the market. The most traded price of the last month is the 71.60s. And we're right there now. It's not a shocker. Not a shocker at all. Okay? We just broke that demand zone. Okay? Broke that swing low. A bunch of equal lows here. Even back to here. Now, what do we do? Do we sweep this? And we probably didn't go back up to 71.80s. I don't know. Now, the NASDAQ is finally, it was at the highs. Now it's dropping back. Do we get further selling here? And now you do have equal lows right here that I was targeting with one short I had. And I had about 7 to 8 points of excursion on 4 points risk, which I should have probably took off in retrospect, but I didn't. Got hit break even. But I would think if we do drop, because sometimes you do drop on an FOMC day, this is where the market's going to go, the 71.47s. This is where the market will go, the 71.47s. How it gets there, we all know. Market doesn't move in straight lines. It doesn't. Okay? So, this is your ES, right? Let's do a little profile because you want to get a visual. Let's do it from this candle here. You can see high volume was up in here. That's the most traded price of the week. And then you see the second volume was the most traded price of yesterday. Then you have a little low volume node right here. Okay, little pivot point. Not the best. This is more of a low volume node right there. That really shows it because you can see the pivot point, right? But look at my crosshair and look at the candles. Support, 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 support. Oh, resistance, resistance, resistance. Like I said, low volume nodes are support and resistance, or they get blown through. Okay, look, it got blown through here. Okay, I just love looking at profile. It just gives you a beautiful visual. Now, like I said, if we do come here and we break down, I'm saying right now, look at that, look at that. Okay, I don't know if something came out with the Middle East, but whatever, it doesn't matter at this point. It's headed for here. Okay? Something just came out. Let me just check. I'm going to check if something came over the wire. The only thing that just came out was news, was building permits, retail inventories. Maybe that's it. Oh, well, I see at 8:24. Let me actually show you what I'm looking at here. 8:24, Iran warns of unprecedented military action over ongoing U.S. seizures of Iran-linked ships, senior security source. That's probably what is driving the market down. Okay? Back to the hourlies. All right? So, your goal, if this holds, now look, what are we doing? trending lower, then whoop, trying to break that swing high. Now you're making another swing high, right? And you are going to look for these equal lows now. So that, the 71.47s, is probably your goal. Now, what do you want to look for? Probably some premium up in there, up here maybe to short to tag those. Remember, again, I talked about the 71.36s yesterday. We did not hit that. Maybe we hit that after this. I don't know. I don't know, right? If I did know, then, I'd be on a yacht, right? I wouldn't even be doing this live stream. Now look at this. If we sweep this, you better believe you're going to hit these 71.80s. Okay? Let's move on to the NASDAQ. All right, NASDAQ also just hit this swing low. Now we just made another equal low. So I'm going to change this, put it to here. So now that you have an equal low here, that's even more attractive to get hit. That's usually a draw on liquidity. It draws liquidity to these levels. Okay. And now we also have another swing high here. It's pretty equal itself right here. Okay, so these levels are very important. Okay, very, very important. They're very liquid. Multiple touches, equal highs and lows are very, very, very liquid. Okay, so we blew out demand in the ES, but did not in the NASDAQ because the NASDAQ's relatively stronger. Let's put a profile on it. Let's throw a profile. We'll do it from here. Okay, so you can see the bulk of the trading at the most traded price of the week, 273s, right there, right? And then you have more volume here. That's from yesterday, most traded price. More volume here. Okay. Now, if we back this out, this is the reason why the market didn't fall. Look at the volume it came into. See that big volume that was here from this area? It's hard to push through those areas. That's why I said yesterday, a short is very hard to come by in this area. Now, I'm not saying you can't short if you're scalping or something. I'm just saying in the overall picture. See, it tried, and then went right up, right? So we did hold unfilled gap here, right? Now, in the overnights, that doesn't really count. Usually want to do it in regular trading hours to fill the gap. So this does not count, but it did push over that, okay? And now we're just ranging. We're just ranging. Look at that 4-hour candle. It's a doji. And look at that daily. It's like an inverse hammer. So that's what we have going on in the hourly charts, okay? Now we're going to move on to the market profile, volume profile. And this is your market profile, volume profile. How I like to look at my charts. Just multiple distributions here. If you look at the composite volume profile here, distribution, 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 distribution. It's kind of gross, okay? But where are we at? Most traded price of the week, the month, I'm sorry, 71.60s. 71.60s. We just keep coming back, okay? Keep coming back. And what that really means is that's the most agreed upon price. It's the fairest price to do business in the last month. Market agrees. Let's trade that 71.60. Long and shorts keep coming there and doing business. Okay, that's people's behavior. That's why I love the volume profile. It tells me that is the most traded price. Not volume in a 1-minute bar. The most traded price. Most contracts have traded around the 71.60s. Okay? And right now, we're at the midpoint of yesterday. Right there. 71.64s. It happens to be the most traded price, right, of the month. All right. Let's get into the scenarios. Long and short trade scenarios in the ES. Okay, well, first we're going to do break out the overnight session. Boom. Let me see if this helps at all. That's kind of yesterday's session. Not sure if that helps. I'm going to put it back for now. Okay. Not the best area. Okay. Now we did sweep these lows. Just not the best area. Okay. So how are we going to look at this, right? Well, the only way we could look at it is you got to trade around this 7160s most likely. Okay. So we are in a little bit of a downtrend. All right. So let's get into it. Let's start with shorts today. So we're right here. Remember, we have those equal lows around the 7147s. Now, not only do we have a weak low, I'm sorry, equal lows, we have what I like to call a weak low. So these 7145s, the sevens, look at this session. That's a prior daily low. Then you have an overnight low. Then you have yesterday's lows. You get the drift? That, my friends, wants liquidity to come to it. That is just too precise. Okay, so when you see a level like 7147s to 7145s, that, my friends, all it needs is a market to start to fall, and you're going to probably hit it. Now, I guarantee we hit that in FOMC. I don't know if we hit it before, but if we're doing a short scenario, this is what I would like to see. A push up into this demand around the 7180s. Purple. Okay. So what I want to see, a push up into the 7180 supply zone. Now you do have a little bit of an equal high here as well in the overnight highs. So now, first one you can get that nice failure right here. Okay, come out of there, then maybe you make a lower high, right? Maybe tech is showing some weakness, and you want to target the 7161 overnight low. Okay, if you want to hold a runner, I believe if we just show some weakness off the open, we are gonna hunt that weak low, the equal low, 7147s to 7145s. Now, if you hit that, either we rip up from there, you take your profits, or you hold on one last runner to get the 7136s, and then I probably think you bounce. Okay? Now, number two for the short. If you came up here quickly and went like this, whoop, sweep the overnight highs, 7188s, come back in, lower high, same thing. Short that, target 7160s, 7146s, possibly the 7136s. Okay? Think that's a pretty good move that you could probably possibly get. Kind of all I am interested in for a short. Now, long. So, anytime on FOMC, okay, I like to call it a de-risk trade. So, if the market happened to come down to the 7147 to 7146 or 7145 area, and let's say you break it, right? And then you get this whoop, like little V-shaped recovery with a higher low. Now, I'd have to see order flow. I'm going to see internals, right? But if I see some love getting put in here, what's going to happen is people don't want to hold the bag into a major news event or data, right, at the FOMC at 2 p.m. So what you could see is this rip up into the 7160s because that's our warm snuggly bed. It's the most traded price of the month. And then we wait for the FOMC statement. Now, another one to put here. If we come down here quickly, just like I said, and we take out the 7147s to 7140s, and we do take out the 7136s, also look for a de-risk. If you get a quick recovery back inside the 7136s with the higher low, get ready for that long to go to the warm snuggly bed, the most traded price of the month, the 7160s. Okay? That will be my plan today. Like I said, I'm only looking to trade the first hour and change. Then I'm done for the day. I don't even look at them. I don't even sit here. I don't care. Okay? But I think those are pretty rock solid. Now, Nasdaq. 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 Let's look at it. Let's see what the Nasdaq is doing. Okay, now a little different because semis are up today with technology, and so is energy. Remember, that's what we have going on right now. Normally, when crude is up that much, you're not going to see that, but that's what's happening. Okay, that's what's happening. So, this is what we have. Now, you're in the midpoint, and you're at yesterday's highs right now in the Nasdaq. Right now. Okay, now you don't have that beautiful equal low, okay, down here that you had in the ES. You do have it at the overnight lows at the 27183s. You do have it, okay, but we have a different scenario here. Different scenario. If tech is strong off the open again, well, we'll have to see, okay? Let's get into scenarios here. Alrighty. So, we did break that out. Now, one thing to note here. Here's your most traded price of yesterday, right there. 27173s, right? That you look at that as a mini line in the sand. Okay? Market's holding that level. And you have a very balanced profile on the overnight, right? It's holding it. So, I have a little different take here in the Nasdaq, right? Just has relative strength. You can't deny it. All right? So, let's look at a scenario. Now, I'm going to start with a long in the Nasdaq. So, I'm going to look at how we handle this demand zone, right? That demand zone spans from 27224s to 27147s. Okay? So, now we're pushing back. Let's see. If the market comes down, if the market comes down, which it's trying to do now, right? Takes this equal low, lines up with the most traded price, 27173s, and the end of a demand zone and the beginning of a major demand zone. Okay, if you get love in here, happens to be the 50% retracement of yesterday, 27128s. Also, if you bounce, retest the 27173s, you look long. You target gap fill 273, then overnight highs. Like I said, I don't know how far we get here. I think that's your best bet. Maybe you get the 274s, but like I said, it's just relatively strong. Until it's proven wrong, that's just the way it is. Okay? Now, if the ES was to happen to take down the Nasdaq with it, and you did push down all the way and take out yesterday's lows at the 270s, you have that major demand. Same thing here would be the D-risk. If you get a nice V, the higher low, you go up and target the 271.73s, the most traded price yesterday, and probably wait for FOMC. All right, shorts. Shorties. Okay. So, shorts. How are we going to look at this? Right? Now, this is a big demand zone that was used up a lot, so it's a little less powerful. Okay? Anytime you chop through all that, it makes it a little less powerful. So, shorts, what I want to see is if you do come down here and you get love, fill the gap, right? And let's say you hit that overnight high, but then guess what? You pull back into range, put a lower high in. If tech is weak, you then target this area, the 27173s. Now, if you break that, okay, and the market is showing some weakness, you can see if you can take the 270s. Okay. Now, a little more conservative is if you do this. You break this, right? You break the overnight lows, but then you retest the 27173s. That's a conservative short, targeting 270s. That's all I'm seeing for today. Okay? Now, my overall thesis for today. We have FOMC today, 2 p.m. Okay? We have relative strength in semiconductors, in the technology. Remember, that's 33% of our market cap weighted in the S&P 500. Wherever tech goes, usually the market follows. Okay? We have crude at $103.80 a barrel. All right? So we have relative strength in the NASDAQ. Does tech get money filtered into it today? Or does it have some weakness off the open? That will be the key. That will be the key. Look at how technology off the open is responding in the semis. If they're red, we're most likely going to get a little weakness. Okay? It's just very hard for S&P 500 to move lower with tech being strong off the open. It just won't go down much. Okay? It just won't. So, like I said, I lean long on the NASDAQ a little bit. And I lean short on the ES. Okay? Important levels. ES has those equal lows. Those equal lows, again, what I said was at the 71.47 to 71.45 area. That's a very big draw on liquidity that the market will probably go to if there's weakness. Now, we need technology to participate in some weakness to get down there. Okay? We're at the warm snuggly bed of the most traded price of the month right now. Okay? In the NASDAQ, the level you need to look at is the 27173s, the most traded price of yesterday. Also have the demand zone there. That is the line in the sand for the NASDAQ. Acceptance below that should take the market lower, the NASDAQ, and it should take the ES to hit those 71.47s. All right? Now, remember what I said, FOMC. So, if there is a sell-off, be careful because you don't want to be a bag holder, right? Because what's going to happen is people are going to say, why would you hold a position to 2 p.m.? You wouldn't do it. It's stupid. You don't hold your short and go, I'm still short until FOMC. No one wants to do that. That's why the de-risk long is there. People don't want to hold a bag into FOMC. It just doesn't make sense. It's a gamble. It's stupid. If you're making money with a short, why would you want to take and lose your profits? It just doesn't make sense. Okay? So, that's my analysis for today. Now, smash the like button. If you enjoyed it, smash it. All right? Now, hopefully you join me every morning. Subscribe, set that alert. Give you the market story, the market news, the economic calendar, the leaders and the laggards, technical analysis, and I just gave you the long and short trade scenarios in the ES and the NASDAQ futures. Okay? Now, if you want more in-depth coverage, you will join my Discord. That's Confluence Trading. Go to my YouTube homepage, click on the link, and sign up. What are you waiting for? That may be your indicator. I will not steer you wrong. I'm pretty much live in there every day. Come join me. Ask questions. Okay? So everybody, we have our plans. I gave you my thesis. Okay? Like I said, there might be a trade, there might not be. Sometimes we don't do much, sometimes we do something, and then you get the de-risk. Okay, so remember, no trade is a trade. Hope everybody has a green day. If I don't see you in my Discord, I'll see you guys tomorrow morning And tomorrow, I'm telling you right now, we have huge earnings after the close today. The market's going to be shaken because there's heavyweights that are reporting. Okay, it should be interesting at 4 o'clock. After that, oof, FOMC. Then those, whoa, you got a lot of stuff going on today. All right, everybody have a great day. Good trading. Hope everybody have a good day. Okay, follow your process.